Hello, hello. Happy 11/11 portal. I wasn't sure if I would have a message for you all today, but I know it's a very powerful energy to move through. So I was guided to share a really sweet reminder for divine feminines. And I know that I've been I've been guided for quite some time now to really focus on the spiritual journey, the spiritual higher perspective, when it comes to twin flames, deep soul commitments, because at the very root of it, it's a soul journey and it's an awakening into who you truly are, remembering who you truly are, and activating the multidimensionality of your soul and what was always there. You just weren't privy to, you weren't paying attention to. And so, especially in what I've shared publicly, it's been a lot of how we grow, how we ascend, how we become our highest versions of self. And in terms of supporting divine feminines and divine masculines on the very difficult at times journey of a twin flame connection, I've focused all that in the Patreon. And I've told you many times why I do that as protection for these connections and to keep it sacred, to keep it safe, to remove as much as possible distortion, projection, and all of that. But there's this uptick in the energy right now, and it's starting to feel more supported and safer to talk about some of these concepts and some of these ideas. So what I want to pop on here just to share, it's 1:22, and I don't know if you ever have that where you see a time and you notice it and it's a sign and it's, your guide's talking to you or, somebody talking to you but it feels like that moment lasts forever. Like you keep waiting for the number to change and it's just like time stands still. I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but I just had that. And I kept being like, I wasn't going to say anything. I was like, I'm in a channel, I'm talking. And then I was like, okay, it's still 1:22. It's still 1:22. Feels like that was 5 minutes of 1:22. But it's just that type of day, right? The veil is thin, the dimensionality or the multidimensionality, I mean, is like, it's like, I'm hearing like the Twilight Zone song where it's like do 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 do, but not in a scary way, in like a fun, exciting way. Okay. Anywho, so let's talk about what I want to talk about, and then I'll get off here so you guys can go enjoy your beautiful day and spending it however you choose, whatever feels most aligned. I would recommend a little nature if you can, but you do you. So, divine feminines, especially the divine feminines that are going to relate to the video I believe I shared on YouTube around wherever you began your journey when you were in your soul initiation upon meeting recognition with twin, if you were in the divine feminine polarity or if you're in the divine masculine polarity, whatever polarity your counterpart brought out of you, that you're now returning back to that. So if you relate to that and within that context you relate to being the divine feminine, this message is for you. And you find yourself being pulled really deeply back into your feminine flow state, which is very centered around play. Okay. It's very centered around expansion and joy and free, like the wild feminine. She doesn't limit herself. It's the masculine that gives us boundaries and borders and limitations and for protection, right? Because it's all about protection. So, but the feminine is the one that's like free. Okay. So if you feel that, or you feel like you're being moved into a receptive receiving mode, or you feel more tired, less energy, especially less energy to get things done, right? Like the endless to-do lists and work and things like that, where you're just like not feeling the motivation there. So you then most likely identify with moving back into this feminine energy. The reason that this journey is hard, okay, for the feminine, once she reaches an inner union state and she's come into a deep worthiness where she starts to kind of go and sprinkle her magic back into the collective, where the divine guides her to return to society in whatever way it feels. She's in her cave for so long, she's protected, she's veiled, people can see right through you, they can't even see you when you're out and about, and then all of a sudden things change and everyone sees you. And it's like, oh God, okay, I'm getting a lot of energy, I'm getting a lot of attention, and it can feel very uncomfortable at first, right? But it's because that energy that you've cultivated within yourself is such a gift to whoever you come in contact with, in whatever way you're meant to come in contact, whether it's just a stranger passing by or whether it's having an intimate conversation with somebody or something else, right? There's all these different examples of how the divine uses you now literally uses you as this tool and like plops you into places to sprinkle your little magic dust. And you feel in a way like you don't have any choice in the matter, right? You feel like I'm just being guided to go to this place. I'm being guided to have this conversation. I'm being guided to do this thing. And I'm here, but you still feel a sense of, I almost want to call it like an incomplete, like there's something missing, like there's some piece of the puzzle that you haven't quite accessed, that doesn't quite make sense to you yet. And you're open and you're receptive. And at times your human probably gets involved and you get into your ego and you get into that fear and the anxiety of like, I must be missing something. I must be doing something wrong. And you might think, oh, maybe it's mission, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's that. And then there's probably times where the energy feels so intense and it gets heightened. And like I shared previously, my journey has moved into more physical. So I'll like all of a sudden get injured, like severely injured in some random wackadoodle way. It makes no sense. And also it makes no sense how quickly the healing occurs. Whereas like if it was like a real normal injury, I may be on crutches, but because it's this weird spiritual journey, I'm fine the next day. Like literally that's happened to me. So, and some of you may experience it more as an emotional thing, where if you're more of an even keeled kind of neutral type of person, and then all of a sudden you get this wave of despair and pain and it comes through you. That's what when I'm saying the energy gets heightened and intensified, that's what I'm talking about. It's like you are becoming a transmuter, a transmitter even, where these energies are moving and flowing towards you and in you and through you. And you've learned a lot and you've come into inner union, so you know what to do with them. You know how to ride the wave of it, and you just kind of allow it. And I was going to say like you coerce, but you just gently talk to your human and your ego as you go through that process so that you don't get too stuck into an attachment or a fear. But you're still human, so you still feel the things that arise from that. And I know a lot of you sometimes will come into sessions around when you're feeling that. And by the way, I feel like since the 1010 portal in October, we've been in this very intense little section of energy, heightened energy in these collectives. And you guys book sessions during those times and you're like, is it me? Is there something I'm not seeing? And usually if you have to ask, is it me? It lets me know that you've already done deep inner study. You've already looked at yourself in the mirror and you've already been like, what am I not seeing? What am I not missing? Which is what spurs you to book a session from somebody to be able to be like, okay, help me. What am I not seeing? Because I feel like I'm missing something here. I should not be feeling this deep, deep, dark, dark despair, or I should not be feeling this pain, or I should not be feeling this frustration or anger, or whatever it is that you're experiencing. And or why do I have bruises all over my body and I haven't done anything? Like, what is happening? Why is my like hip out of place and I'm having to go to the chiropractor like 3 times a week? Like, what is happening, right? Whatever it is, because it manifests in different ways for different people. So if you're having to ask yourself that question, it really confirms that it's not you. Okay, it's not you. You have healed, regulated, and come to this state of inner union and neutrality where you now are a tool for the divine, where you channel, you heal, you alchemize, you transmute energies that come into you for the collective. Okay. And sometimes you're doing this for your family. Sometimes you're doing this for your friends. Sometimes you're doing this for your masculine. And actually, I'm going to revise that. A lot of the time you're doing this for your masculine. Okay. This is part of the agreement of the polarities. You incarnated as the feminine, them incarnated as the masculine. They do a lot of the heavy lifting and density and in the 3rd dimension, which is why they tend to get wrapped up in the karmic situations more often than the feminine does, more intensely, I would say. And then you, feminine, do a lot of that multidimensional work, the higher realm work, the 4D, the 5D, right? You're transmuting and healing all of that over there. And that's probably really loud, but my yard guy is here. Sorry about that. Hopefully it's not too much for you guys, but because I want to keep going. So that's why this journey can be so confusing for you, feminine, and so hard, because you're still living as a human in the 3D, and you're feeling all this stuff that doesn't quite make sense. And so it can very much disconnect you from reality. It can disconnect you from friends and family that don't understand these journeys and aren't going through it. And if you were to talk freely about it, they might be like, yeah, you're crazy. I think you need therapy, right? They may have judgment because they're only able to perceive it from the level that their heart is open. It's really beautiful when you do meet people that are not on these journeys, but they happen to have open hearts and they do not judge you. and they just completely get it and understand. Those are the most beautiful. Those are like, what do I call them? Earth angels. Those are earth angel experiences. And some of you have not experienced that, and that's okay because it's very rare. But I know some of you have because you shared it with me. So just know they're gifts, and that there's a divine reason that they're put in your life, so you can feel that. But for the most part, you feel it's disorienting, okay? And you feel like I said, there's that piece missing. There's that puzzle piece missing. You're moving on. You're doing your mission. You're balanced. You're healed. You should feel on top of the world. You honestly, like, in logic says, reality says, you've accomplished something that most humans do not get to. And this is not like, oh, we're better than, but you have quite literally, the best word that I can use to describe it is enlightenment. You have reached that place. And you not only have you reached that place within yourself, but you've also reached that place in a sense of integration with the material world around you. So you're still able to interact and engage. And it's what I was talking about when you spread your little magic and you're put in like a dive bar, right? Do you think the monk on the hill was going to the dive bar? No. But you know who was? Yeshua. Okay? Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. This is the energy of full union, full integration. I'm not of the world, but I'm still in the world. And I'm spreading my light and my gift to the world, right? To all different walks of life. People that the average person would label bad, unredeemable, whatever. You are meant to gift to and give to. So you will find yourselves in very interesting situations because you're integrating the 3D and the 5D. And guess who holds it down for you? Just so you know, feminines. Guess whose energy is always there protecting you? Whether you feel it or not, whether they consciously, their human knows it or not, your divine masculine is always protecting you. There's always an aura. I can't even tell you how many times I've been in situations where like an interesting energy has come in and it's repelled something, like stopped something, right? And I understand it now because I can see it very clearly when it happens. And it's not anything you're doing. There's just an energy that comes in that's kind of protecting. And that's part of this symbiotic, harmonious relationship that's always occurring, and also helps you understand that separation is an illusion and it's not real because you're always there. Okay. But on this 11/11 portal day, I'm just wanting to acknowledge you feminines about the journey that you've been on and how difficult it can be, because you are constantly confronted with this other version of reality that you know is false and you know is not true. And it's your job actually to hold the other version of reality, to hold that other dimension and crack open the facade of this other reality. That's part of your magic. That's part of your gift. That's what you do. That's what you've been doing to the masculine. Okay. And that's what you're now doing for other people. So it can be very hard because you get confronted with that. Not to mention when we go through these portals and the energy just feels so, so, so intense and it's just coming at you. Perhaps you're getting sign. You have to know that your masculine counterpart has never let go of your energy. They've tried, but they never have. And so there is this, like, even twin flames aside, even all that aside, if there's a person out in the world that's thinking about you a lot and putting a lot of energy into you, a lot of external energy, whether it's negative, positive, it doesn't matter. If they're putting a lot of thought and energy into you, you're going to feel that energy. It's going to always be coming towards you, which is why, in a sense, holding on to someone's energy does accrue karma, right? So in the higher realms, when we hold resentments, when we hold fear, when we hold anger, when we hold love, unspoken love, whatever, when we hold any sort of emotion, attachment to somebody, and it's not aired out in the light, it's not brought out of the shadows, out of the darkness into the light, it does create a karma. It creates an attachment, and it's not fully integrated. It's not fully balanced. There it is. There's the word I was looking for. And the universe is constantly trying to get things into balance and neutralizing. Okay. So feminine, that pain, that those emotions that come up out of nowhere that I'm telling you are not yours, the physical body sensations that come up out of nowhere that I'm telling you are not yours. It is that energy. It is that energy that will not let go of you. Okay. It will not let go. And it's why there's a destiny here. And it's why you're able to move on and you're able to experience the enlightenment and all these things I'm mentioning. But it's almost like that sensation, that feeling like you left something at home, like you were going on this big trip and you know you forgot something, you can't figure out what it is. It's like something always on the periphery, something always out here. And it's because, like, if this person had truly let go of your energy, that would stop. That would stop. But it's impossible in a twin flame connection once the activation and the recognition has happened. Okay, so acknowledging that, giving you that awareness and that inner knowing that that's why the signs repeat, that's why the energy comes in. And I want to be really clear here. If you know that you have balanced and you've come into this neutrality and you've experienced a lot of the things that I've mentioned, okay, and you're just kind of floating, right? Then that the signs and the repeated and the energy, it's not that you're not a bad manifester. It's not that you're doing something wrong that's blocking. It's that this person is in their part of the process. And to be honest, it's all up to them at this point. The baton has been passed. They have to find their inner emperor. They have to find their divine masculine energy to come in and rise and meet you. Okay. And meet you to that level. And there's nothing you can do or not do in that period, feminine, to stop that. Now, let me be very clear. If you are somebody who has not found that discernment, that neutrality, that balance of masculine and feminine energy, if you are still working through your own karma, your own 3D stuff, your own 5D stuff, your own stuff, let's just call it, there is a potential that you are doing what I just described, so that you are actually holding on to somebody's energy. And so you're going to see signs, you're going to see confirmations, you're going to see those, those things come through, but it's actually because your guides are trying to get you to see something about that connection. Okay. And it's you attaching and holding on, which, like I said, creates that karma. And this is where we get the false twin thing, right? The false twin story, and a lot of people realizing, like, oh my God, this whole time, and then they feel deceived by God, but it was your inner higher self, the God within you, that was showing you, that was just showing you. So you couldn't let go of this energy, you couldn't neutralize and release and move on, karmically speaking, until the insight was gained and understood. Right? And that's what happens with the masculines. Until they see the truth, until they're able to blast through all of the deception within themselves and the world, they're not let go. They can't. And for them, they actually don't get to let go until they bring it to light and they speak and they come into their confidence and their power, right? So it's similar. This is why the false twin flame journey can be so confusing. But I just want to differentiate that here really quickly, because I know there are some that get very confused and very hurt. But guess what? The false twin is a beautiful initiation, and it's such a gift. It's something to be completely grateful for. Okay. And it's usually indicative of a true connection. Okay. Whether it's a deep soulmate connection, whether it is a twin flame, whatever. It's indicative of something on your path. You were learning a lesson here of deception, confusion, what love isn't, because your soul is moving you into learning what love is. Okay. So it's all beautiful. It's all divine. There's always a reason. There's always a purpose. But for those of you that feel at times very confused, divine feminines, I'm speaking to you because you're like, what the hell? I don't understand. Like, just let me go. Just let me go. That's such a theme in our sessions lately with everybody. They're just like, I get it. I've learned the lessons. I've done the thing. Just let me go. The thing is, it's not up to you now. And so you do have to be in a state of surrender and receptivity. You do have to just let go, because even the just let me go is that control. It's the anxiety. It's that I can't quite see it. I don't quite understand it. I want to try and control it. I want to try and control the timeline. I want to try and gain, I guess it just keeps coming back to control. I keep trying to find other words to describe the same thing, right? It's the fear of the unknown. It's the fear of you know what it is, feminines, for you, you love to fix and you love to heal yourself and others. And you just love to be that nurturer. You love to be the giver, and you're being asked to be the receiver. And that's very challenging in your polarity. And so right now you might be deeply uncomfortable as you're being initiated in letting go of kind of the micromanaging, the spiritual micromanaging. You know what I'm being reminded of? I'm being reminded of, there's a natural inclination within women when they have a child. There's this or even before having a child or while they're carrying the child, like there's a like a sixth sense, and being tuned into fear. But there's a divine, beautiful purpose in that. It's being super heightened and aware of where is the threat, because I'm protecting this life, right? So the fall and the shadow of that is getting sucked into it completely. And we see that happens to some moms, right? Where they just have this absolute fear about their child in the world, and they have this absolute fear about themselves. And like the whole world just becomes this scary, dark place that bad things, only bad things happen, right? That energy has a higher exaltation, and it's super beautiful. And it's about holding both of those, the union, the polarity, holding both of them. So having that awareness, but also being able to trust and feel safe and surrender, right? This is part of the beautiful polarity that masculines and feminines gift one another, is being able to hold both of those. So it's not about taking away that nature that you have within yourself, feminine, of wanting to help, wanting to nurture, wanting to give. But it is about coming into a time of balance with that, and reclaiming and learning to not know. Okay. Even though you hold the vision and you can always have this sight, there's a period of not knowing that's necessary right now. It's necessary for you to not really know. And that's not meant to make you feel crazy or like you're doing something wrong or trying to get off the path or off the track. It's confirming for you you're exactly on the track. And this is the initiation that I'm asking you to go through. It's like your higher self talking to you. They're asking you to go through this. Okay. Okay. I think that's it. I hope that's helpful. I just wanted to send that message of love to the collective right now, a collective of divine feminines, because you've been working really hard, and it's actually at a point of stop working. Like, no more work. Move into your feminine, get into play, get into joy, do what lights you up. And if you're feeling sad because of what I've been talking about, and like emotions come over you or things come over you, and they don't feel like yours, and you don't know where they're coming, you don't need to try and figure it out. You don't need to be in the like what's going on, right? Feminines are so like funny, because the feminine is always the one that's like a detective. Like, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to figure this out. I need to know. And so like, I'm going to do the self-healing. I'm going to do that ritual. I'm going to do this. I'm going to work with this healer. I'm going to work with this coach. I'm going to blah, 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 right? And then masculines are like out here by themselves pretty much for the most part, sometimes getting bad advice from people that they should not trust, but more often than not, completely alone on an island. Like, I'm not going to ask anybody for directions, right? There's that old adage, right? And we need to take a little bit of each other's lead. We need to like have a little more balance, right? Like, masculines are really good at compartmentalization and being able to be like, okay, the day is done. I'm not going to work right now. I'm just going to tune the fuck out. And then feminines like have a very hard time doing that. But that's kind of what you need. You need to take that from your masculine right now. Like, tune the fuck out, feminines. Like, just chill. There's no need to be like in this hyper, scanning the world for threats, or there must be something you're doing wrong. There's nothing you're doing wrong. When very, very big things shift in the energetic realm, in the energetic dimensions and fields, it doesn't just plop down very easily in density. I mean, I'm being drawn to babies again. Think about babies. That's 9 months. That's a long time in human life and human years. That's a long time in density, right? And there's some animals like elephants. I think oh my God, they're pregnant for so long. It's more than a year. I don't know exactly. You might know. But anyways, so this is a very big thing. It takes there's the gestation. Am I saying that correctly? Gestation 144. That period, there's a sacredness in that. So feminines, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're listening to spiritual teachers and people in the community that basically say, I can help you manifest in 6 months and you're going to have the life that you want, and you want this job, you want this income, you want this house, you want that lover, I got you. No, they're lying. They're selling tickets. Okay. Because that's not how it works. And we realize once we get on a spiritual journey, it's not about that results base. It's not about the external. It's not external to internal. It's internal to external, right? And that's the journey you've been on, okay? And that's a long, hard journey. It really is, especially when you feel gaslit around every corner, especially when the person gaslighting you is you, or the masculine manifestation of you. But the only reason the masculines gaslight you is because in some way you're gaslighting yourself, right? And when you stop gaslighting yourself, they stop being able to gaslight you. It's very simple. I'm sorry, this is probably so loud and annoying, so I'm going to end it there. But I hope you have a beautiful 11/11 portal. I'm sending you lots of love. If you need support, guidance, book a session. I love supporting people in those sacred containers. The one-on-one, there's just some magic in there. Honestly, when I come on here very inspired, it's because I've just had a one-on-one that really like so much came through. So, but if you need support, that's where you can find me. If you're interested in a lot more content and support in a myriad of ways, as well as a beautiful like-minded community, check out the Patreon. The link is down below. And thank you so much for being here and supporting this work and subscribing and liking and commenting. That means so much to me. All right, I'll be back soon.